Martin, what is Einstein's relativity?
Well, before I answer that, let me just say that I'm astonished at the amount of abusive comments on this platform. I think the last one was that I did was about Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, and can you believe it? People were putting abusive comments. I don't know what's wrong with people. Anyway, they're very highly amusing. If you want to put some abusive comments on, please do. You have a good look at them. Anyway, so Einstein's relativity. Let me talk about relativity first. Relativity literally means that things are relative to the observer. Once upon a time, well, most people still do believe that time is an absolute thing. In other words, time is the same for everybody, and it's a property of the universe, and it slowly ticks away. And that space is the same for everybody. So there's no relativity there, but what Einstein found was that space and time are relative to the observer. There's nothing absolute. They don't exist out there apart from the observer. Anyway, Einstein had two brands of relativity: special relativity and general relativity. Special relativity assumes that there's no acceleration involved. In fact, what physicists call an inertial frame of reference. Anyway, I won't harp on about that, but so if you are an observer and you see a rocket shooting past you at near the speed of light, of course, you have to be a fairly sharp observer to catch it, but shooting past you at near the speed of light, its clock would be moving very, very slow. The time for that rocket would be much slower than your time. There is an issue there, but I won't go into it. It's called the twin paradox, but I should do that another time, which, by the way, hasn't really been resolved satisfactorily. Anyway, the time would be moving very slowly, as far as you're concerned, on that rocket. Not only that, but it would shrink in size. And this is a real effect. And in fact, there are atomic particles that pass through our atmosphere that shouldn't be able to pass through our atmosphere. And they pass through it because they are traveling so fast that our atmosphere looks very thin. Maybe it looks a few meters thick, and it's actually 250 miles thick. So they get through, so it's a real effect. So that's special relativity, time dilation and space contraction. There's nothing absolute, it's all relative to the observer. And the interesting thing about this, in fact, one of Einstein's, how can I put it, dogmas, if you like, was that the speed of light is constant for everybody. I'm getting over a cold, by the way, I'm clearing my throat a bit. So normally, if two cars approach each other at 40 miles an hour, say, and they collide, their collision speed will be 80 miles an hour. I think most people understand that. With the speed of light, because it's constant, if you are traveling at, say, half the speed of light, and then a ray of light hits you, still traveling at the speed of light, not 1.5 times the speed of light. The speed of light is absolutely the maximum speed that anything can travel at. And you can't go beyond it, and nobody knows why. That's the interesting thing. Nobody knows why the speed of light is a constant. Anyway, that's special relativity. General relativity, which is the thing I studied for my PhD, is concerned with acceleration as well as inertial frame of reference. And Einstein commented on what was his happiest day. His happiest day was when he realized that the force on your back when you're being accelerated in an airplane or something, or maybe a very fast car, is exactly the same as the force on your feet when you stand on the ground. And he realized that we are, in a sense, accelerating all the time when we stand on the ground. Why? Because the matter of the Earth, the mass of the Earth, distorts space and time. So although we look like we're stationary, we're actually in a deformed space and time environment, which makes us feel like we're accelerating. And that is what he found with general relativity, that time and space are warped by matter. And in fact, the equations you could read the other way around. The deformation of space and time uses matter. But anyway. Anyway, he said that was his happiest day when he realised that. You know, a very simple thought experiment. Force on your back in an accelerating airplane is the same as force on your feet when you stand on the ground. So you're kind of accelerating all the time while you're still on planet Earth. Now, an interesting thing is that this warping of space and time becomes more and more intense the more dense the matter. So there is some real concern that at the CERN accelerator, one in Switzerland, that they are pumping so much energy into such a tiny, tiny space that they might create black holes. And, well, there's a story there, but basically this is the limiting factor on how much energy you can pump into a very, very small volume of space. So a direct outcome of Einstein's general relativity is that there are these things called black holes, which we seem to have verified now. He was a bit of a disbeliever in all that, even though his own formula predicted them. And what physicists don't really know is whether space and time warp to an infinite degree in a black hole, what they would call a singularity. They don't really know if that happens or not. The mathematics says it should, but does it in reality? So, there we have it. Special relativity is just people who are not being accelerated, observers who are not being accelerated. General relativity is for environments where there's matter and there is acceleration. And relativity and quantum mechanics were the great foundations laid down in the 20th century. And since then, physicists have done almost nothing. I know that's kind of insulting to say that, but at a fundamental level, nothing has happened. And why? I'll just get on my soapbox a minute. Because the great physicists were always philosophers. Einstein was a philosopher, Newton was a philosopher, Schrödinger was a philosopher, Niels Bohr was a philosopher. These days, physicists think that by writing a lot of squiggles on a board, the mathematics, they understand things. The reality is the mathematics obscures. I was very good at mathematics. In fact, for my PhD, I was in the applied mathematics department to study general relativity. But I soon learned that if you get carried away with the mathematics, you lose a sense of what you're studying. Anyway, that's my little bit for the end of this. But, special relativity isn't particularly difficult for those people who might have a bit of a physics background. It's worth studying because it's really very, very nice. And if you can do it, I remember one day the physics lecturer treated it using tensor calculus, and it was really beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful things I've seen. Anyway, that's it. Special relativity, general relativity, and the universe is, as they say, not only more unusual than you think, it's more unusual than you can think.